Since 2009, here on Philippine Realty TV, we've been building homes from the ground up. We started with Project First Home. It was essentially a 101 of how to build a home from scratch in the Philippine setting. After Project First Home, we moved to Project Green Home. It was a fully sustainable green home that is a modern testament to how Filipinos can build homes that would require less water, would require less electricity to run. It was a very sustainable, modern home, and it was a very successful project. Right after Project Green Home, we finished Project Smart Home. And that home was built in Marikina, where back in 2009, Ondoy happened. And the unique thing about that home is that it was a flood adaptive home because it had a flotation mechanism on the carport that allowed your car to float in the event of a flood. Now, our newest project is Project Renovation. So this time around, we're not building a home from scratch. The objective is, how do you transform a more than 30-year-old house into a modern resort-type home? It has been known that renovations actually take more time and are harder to do than building a home from scratch. As we go about renovating this home, we will uncover a lot of surprises, I'm sure. We have gathered a very good team. We are working with architect Paul Peña. We have him on board the project to transform this house into a modern resort home.
Well, the design that we focus on is called the modern Asian design. The concept of that is we tend to bring in the nature here in the city. We use a lot of natural elements such as wood, stone. We maximize the environment such as the natural light and wind direction. We incorporate it in the house. Before we start with the construction, we need to do an ocular visit first. And then the client should give us all the wish list, the requirements of the house. So from there, that's the time we can come up with some solutions and ideas.
So architect, as you can see, it's a more than 30-year-old house, no? A little worn down, but generally it still looks okay.
Yes.
It still looks like it's a well-maintained home.
What I can see, the house has already a lot of character into it. We will maintain most of the focal points of the house, and then we'll just implement the current trend in design in this project.
So for example, with these adobe blocks, I'm not too sure, it looks a little bit dated. There were a lot of these back in the 1980s.
That's right.
How can we modernize this, or do we completely take them out?
Oh no, I suggest that we still use this. This is part of the house. What we can do to modernize this is we remove all the rough texture of the adobe here. We can just smoothen it out, so it will be basically a rectangular post here, and then the finish should be natural.
Okay.
So we will not put a top coat into it, maybe just to seal off the layers here.
Okay.
But we will retain the existing look of the adobe. Just the finish, we'll just smoothen it out.
In terms of water features, this house has no water feature. As I understand, that's one of the hallmarks of a modern resort home, no? It's really the water features.
That's right. You can't, well, basically, most of the resorts, almost all of the resorts, have water features.
Right.
Water softens the environment and it cools down the temperature.
Okay.
So it's important part of the house. Usually, we will be locating it at the common areas,
okay,
where you entertain your guests, where you spend most of the time, such as the living area and the lanai. But the important thing with the water feature is it should be circulating.
Okay.
The moment it becomes stagnant water, that's the time it will be infected by mosquitoes and the like. Another thing that we need to consider when we do renovation is the budget. Because sometimes when you start renovating, the deeper you go into the renovation, the more problems you see, or the more items that the clients wants to change as well. Then we need the existing plans of the house. We need to work with the existing structure and the other elements of the house.
What are we going to do with the current windows?
What I noticed, most of the windows, if not fixed, they are translucent, which do not allow light to enter. So what we'll do, we will study first the orientation of the sunlight, and then that's where we will be putting the windows. We cannot just put in the windows in all parts of the house to make it light and airy.
Okay.
We need to consider the sun and the wind path.
So from this day, architect Paul is going to come up with a design. We gave him the plans, the old blueprints for the house. He's going to come back to us and show us the new look and feel of what this place will be in the next few months. This is Project Renovation.